Imagine you had to close your business because you can't buy the materials to continue. That's the situation Leyla Danishvar is facing.
We already had problems in getting the raw materials. Stainless steel mainly it's imported. So already we had problems, and now I can say it's impossible.
US sanctions have meant her manufacturing business is suffering. Sanctions have a way of affecting everyone, but how exactly do they work? A sanction is essentially a way to pressure a country. They are decisions made by a nation to change its relationship with a target country, and are used for a variety of reasons, from punishment to forcing or preventing action. Individual countries or international bodies can impose sanctions. Take what happened in Cuba, where the many classic cars, a famous tourist draw card, are actually the result of the US trade embargo, a series of economic sanctions. Cubans found ways around the sanctions by maintaining cars purchased before the embargo, which is why you see so many of the classic vehicles all over Havana. In more recent times, though, smart sanctions have been more common, where the target of sanctions might be companies or groups. The most commonly used sanction is economic, where a country imposes bans on trade and investment with another country. When the European Union wanted to stop North Korea from developing nuclear weapons, they imposed sanctions on them, including restrictions on financial investments and banning the trade of arms, resources, and luxury goods. But how do these punishments affect people living in these countries? Iran has been sanctioned heavily by Western powers for years, which has affected people in many ways.
The impact that these punitive measures will have on the population can be comparable to that of war. Now, according to the US Treasury, the initial phase will impact everything from the currency, gold, precious metals, to the car-making industry.
Sanctions make the prices of everyday items like bread or milk go up, adding to the overall inflation in Iran, which has hovered between 34% and 12% in the past couple of years, which is huge compared to America's inflation rate of around 1 to 2%. Over half of Iranians are now living in poverty, with some calling it a form of warfare against non-combatants. They get closed off from the rest of the world, forcing them to manufacture things themselves, like cars, with over 94% of them made in Iran by either Iran Khodro or Saipar, leaving little in everyday life unaffected by the sanctions. Sanctions are always mentioned as some kind of political punishment, but the impacts they have on ordinary people can be devastating. Faced with such a challenge, business owners like Leyla may have to make hard decisions.
Either I have to close the factory, the company, or I have to continue with much higher price.